This is outbreaking thing that's happening on our news at the moment. Russia is really serious, and they're doing some exercise military with all their people preparing for this war. This is getting too extreme. We got the US election, you got the little dispute with the Syria, and now it leads to this. Russia is using their bit of their power by preparing themselves, where the UN, that US just allowed, to establish the missile facing towards Russia, thanks to Italy and Turkey. And as well, they don't cooperate or talk to each other to negotiate this problem, Russia and US. This sounds so familiar, what has happened in the past. That was literally like 1965, the Cuban Missile Crisis. That was the closest that we ever witnessed to head through a World War III. Nuke versus nuke. Literally nuke facing towards to America. The closest destination was Miami. Miami at that time was ghost town. Everyone was fleeing from Miami. It was turned to a military zone. Tanks, missiles facing towards the Cuba. And Cuba with the help of Russia. It's incredible what we're seeing right now. Lucky John F. Kennedy just got elected and stopped the Cuban missile and do agreement. But disarm the missiles from Turkey and Italy. And Russia dismantled their missiles in Cuba. While John F. Kennedy wants to build a better relationship with the Russia by adding a red telephone. That red telephone signature signified as Russia is emergency call. You have to call it regardless what was the problem. When Obama came into office, all these years, Obama decided, no, you know what? We just get rid of the red telephone. That was 2008. Look at right now. We are facing a similar situation that what has happened in the Cuban Missile Crisis. You know, John F. Kennedy versus Nixon. And John F. Kennedy won the election. John F. Kennedy didn't listen to the staff and member to push forward for this war to go against Cuba. That's the reason why John F. Kennedy was proud and saved the world. Or else that would have been nuke versus nuke. But now, we are seeing the same problem. Now, I'm not sure who's right or who's wrong, but all these WikiLeaks leaking all these documents about Hillary setting up for this war, or Syria, where Trump wants to change the whole thing and wants to establish a relationship with Russia. This sounds so familiar, just like what it is, Nixon versus John F. Kennedy. If Trump actually wins, would he save the world? If Hillary wins, would he kills the world? This is a big problem. This is a serious problem right there. Because we're repeating history. This is just going to be nukes and nukes. I've been talking to my landlord just to say, Jesus, if that actually happens, am I going to be conscripted? Is any of us going to be conscripted? Back of his mind, he's like, well, we have technology, we have drones, we have bombs, we have all these high tech. I don't think they need people. But we can be conscripted. And that's the scariest bit. Would this lead to, you know, China aligned with Russia against the whole UN? We've seen it in the past. We've seen it in Vietnam War. We've seen it in what happened in Korea War as well. And this is getting really big and too intense right now, what we're seeing right now. And I'm just gonna say, man, this is getting hard. And we're getting close. I just couldn't believe that I'm gonna see this happening at my age, you know? This is the closest that we're ever gonna see World War III. Would Trump gonna keep his word? Would Hillary keep his word? I don't know. But to me, it seems like we're repeating the same history. Just like John F. Kennedy and Nixon, what they did. For those who doesn't know, Nixon, even though John F. Kennedy won the election, Nixon was the vice president. During that time, Nixon was secretly wanting to start a war, trigger the war in Cuba, claiming that the Cubans fight within Cuba, which turns out they got busted. They got busted, alright, by the CIA. The CIA leaked some information to Cuba, to Castro Fidel, and said there's an incoming attack. The Americans are painted their planes to Cuban military to make it seem like it's just a ceasefire. And we caught that sort of stuff before. Those lies. And John F. Kennedy knew what happened and stood his ground not to start the war, even though that has happened. We are repeating history. I'm not sure what's next. But what I'm going to tell you guys, if you don't believe me, do your research. Because I've read so many books. I'm glad that I read those books to make me realize what is happening right now. This is the closest that we're going to get World War III. Or just simply Russia versus US. But would it work out to be Russia versus US? Because Russia, each time they launch the bomb, that's it. Or missile, that's it. The whole UN missile just strike it straight immediately. So I reckon it's a lot more difficult than everyone think it is. So or else they shoot to Alaska. I don't know. Whatever the way it is, there's always missiles directly facing towards Russia and China. And this is scary. It's very scary to even see this. There's more missile facing towards Russia and China than those are facing towards it back to them. Right now, Russia is facing towards, at the border, missile towards them. And that's how serious this is going to get. The Cuba one, it was this close. It was literally like, you know, like 2-3 kilometers or even more than that, like facing towards America, like Miami. But this time, Russia can decide just to shoot anywhere because the missile is surrounded. And it's really scary. It's really, really scary. We talk about drones, nuke, bombs, I don't know, latest technology. And it's getting really scary. So yeah, guys,